Happy to be joined by my next guest, a former UFC title challenger, Bitcoin enthusiast, co-host of the Anik and Florian podcast. Of course, it is Kenny Florian joining me here. Kenny, how's it going, man?
I'm well, man. How are you?
Doing great. How was the day? I know you did a lot of traveling. Take me through your day leading up to this moment, which of course is ending talking to me of all people.
Yeah, no, I was supposed to get on an early morning flight. Got a message on my phone. They canceled my flight, so then it was delayed. So I was on a later flight, but I am here. I'm at a beautiful hotel here in Southern Florida and ready to rock, man. We got a big PFL event this week.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in 1 second. I wanted to start first with you getting back into commentary. Was this something you were looking to get back into, or did they come to you? How did this all come together with you joining PFL?
PFL hit me up. They hit me up, I guess, maybe before COVID, and then of course COVID hit, and then things were delayed. One of my old bosses over at Fox Sports was working for the PFL and hit me up and told me about an opportunity that might come up, and here I am. It just kind of all aligned and worked out, and happy to be a part of the PFL.
Did you miss doing commentary, or were you happy, doing that? Because you got a lot going on, man. I was thinking, not just obviously with your gym and everything, but you're a busy guy, and you got the podcast too, right? So,
yeah, that's right. I was happy to be back. I don't think there's anything like calling live fights. For mixed martial arts, of course. I've been doing the podcast with John Anik for about 6 years, and certainly have missed calling live fights. And when this opportunity came up, I kind of got a little giddy and got excited. And, I think it's something that I truly enjoy. It's been an exciting ride so far.
I think a lot of people were surprised when you left the UFC. How would you describe that relationship with the UFC right now?
I really don't know. To this day, I really haven't been given a definitive answer. I've heard things from other people. Anytime I've hit up the UFC or asked questions when, I was not being utilized, I really was never given an answer on what happened. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I'm happy to be back doing commentary, doing what I love to do, and doing with an organization that supports me, and it's exciting to be a part of something new. I enjoy doing things that are new and different, and PFL certainly fits that criteria with the playoff format, and just happy to be moving forward.
And what a card we got on Friday. We got Rory MacDonald in the main event. We've got, the focus is on obviously the playoffs, but there's some good undercard fights too. Olivia's on the undercard. I'm from Canada, so that's always a bonus as well. But I wanted to talk about MacDonald, that last fight with Gleison Tibau. Did you feel like that was a bit of a robbery there? A lot of people feeling like Rory should have got the nod there.
Yeah, listen, I thought it was as well. I think robbery is kind of thrown out a lot out there on the interwebs. But I do think that it may have fit that criteria. I thought that if you look at the way that most fights are judged, that's a fight that should have been an easy one to score, in my opinion, for Rory MacDonald. I thought he controlled the action, and this is no disrespect to Gleison Tibau, who's a true warrior, a true veteran of the game, but thought Rory won that fight.
Does Ray Cooper have the makings of an upset? I mean, if there's one guy you don't want to fight, especially after a controversial loss, it's Ray Cooper. Just ask Jake Shields. I mean, this guy is he brings it every fight.
He's such a dangerous guy. Not only can he get it done with his wrestling, he is a legitimate threat on the feet as well. He's a guy that's definitely going to push the action. He's going to try to get in Rory's face immediately. Rory's a guy who has been around the game for a long time. He's faced a lot of tough opponents, perhaps similar to Ray Cooper. It doesn't make it any easier, though. Anytime you get a guy with that kind of skill set, with that kind of mentality, and you get a guy as hungry as Ray Cooper, it's not going to be an easy out for Rory. I think that Rory's really going to have to be on top of his game. But all that said, given Rory's skill set, his experience, his mindset, everything that he has on his side, I think it's a fight he can win. Not an easy fight, but he's going to have to be pretty damn perfect to get it done. But it should be an exciting one while it lasts, for sure.
And we got the welterweights in the co-main event as well. Magomedsharipov taking on Sai. What can you expect from this fight? I think a lot of people feel like Magomed and Rory are kind of the two favorites this season.
Yeah, Magomed is a guy that I've been impressed with for a long time. He's a guy that is extremely dangerous on the feet and on the ground, has some phenomenal chokes, as we've seen. He's a finisher. I love the fact that he's a guy that doesn't look like he could be much of a fighter. He doesn't have an intimidating look about him. He doesn't talk a whole lot of trash. But then he gets in the cage and he fights like he has somewhere to go. So I love that aggressive nature about him. But he is facing a guy in Sadabusi who is very dangerous in his own right. Perhaps isn't a threat on the ground, but he is long, lanky, and quite a sniper on the feet. So I think that Magomed needs to find a way to take this fight to the ground. Can he strike with him? Sure. Can he be effective on the feet? Yes. The easiest path to victory, though, if I'm looking at that fight, is for Magomed to try to take that fight to the ground. But I think it's going to be really interesting. And Magomed, with all the things, all the adversity that he's faced heading into this season, and the fact that he was able to pull it off and just get here is just amazing.
You see a little bit of yourself in Magomed in terms of what you just described there, a guy that doesn't look like a fighter. Dana White, I remember he had a quote about you years ago saying, and I'm gonna butcher it, but he's like, Kenny Florian's one of those guys that you say, hey, nerd, and then you end up in a coma. Do you remember that? I remember him talking about you.
I think so. I think he compared me to an accountant at one point.
Yes, that too, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I kind of like that. I think that's kind of what the martial arts is all about, right? It is kind of that quiet dude in the corner of the bar who you think you can mess with and you just don't want to go there. And I think that's kind of the value and the scary part of martial arts.
Yeah. Lots of good fights on this card. Clay Collard's on here. I mentioned Olivia Mercier on the undercard. Yeah. Anything you're looking forward to that we haven't mentioned here? Daryl Horcher's fighting. I think people forgot he fought Khabib in the UFC. Yes. So I'm interested in his fight against Olivier. What are some other matchups there or fighters that you're kind of interested in on this card?
I think Clay Collard is such an interesting story. If you look at how he came in here and how he was overlooked by so many people, and he was fed to Anthony Pettis and went out there and delivered one of the more impressive performances and one of the more impressive upsets that I've seen in a long time. And he just looks extremely confident. Everything he says, he goes out there and does. He's a guy that has really been focused both in boxing and mixed martial arts. And he has been this underdog story that has been tremendous to watch and witness. And when you kind of have the backdrop of the fact that he lost his younger brother heading into this season, it's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that are kind of hard not to cheer for and to see do well. And I think that with each fight, he has established himself as not only a guy to watch, but a favorite, I think, heading into the semifinals. So Clay and his story has been quite impressive.
Also fought Max Holloway, which we were talking about past opponents there earlier. It's just crazy to see the journey that Clay's been on.
Right.
Yeah, which is nuts. Seeing these guys fight, I got to ask. I think I know the answer, but any itch you getting back in there? I know you had some back problems. That's what forced you to retire.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Perhaps a jiu-jitsu tournament or two for me in the future. I'm kind of just trying to get back in shape after being away from the jiu-jitsu mats for a little bit. I was, in the middle of a move and all that stuff, but getting back in shape myself, getting healthier. My back's been pretty good over the last, I guess, year and a half or so. But so I'm hoping to compete in jiu-jitsu, but me at 45 years old, getting back into mixed martial arts, not going to happen.
45 years young, Kenny. 45 years young. That's all I got to say. Right, there you
exactly.
Go. One of your past opponents actually just fought last weekend in the UFC, Jose Aldo. What did you think of that performance? He looked like vintage Aldo in that matchup. I think he landed the most strikes or something they were saying in a 3-round fight in his career.
It was brilliant to watch. Jose Aldo is such a talent. And, I've always kind of been waiting for that Jose Aldo who used to throw a lot of leg kicks and a lot of kicks in general. I think we saw the best Jose Aldo we've ever seen, especially in round 3 of that fight. And he was on fire against Munoz. I thought that there was a nice build-up to his fight. He went out there. He's a little bit, more reserved perhaps in round one, and just showed that he truly is a master of mixed martial arts. When he's at his best, man, I'm telling you, especially in a 3-round fight, he's going to be extremely difficult to beat. And it shows his mindset to be able to carry this type of hunger and this type of passion for the sport at this point. The fact that I think he made his MMA debut like 17 years ago or something like that.
It's nuts, yeah.
His first pro fight. So to see that he's still here competing at this high level in the UFC against elite competition says a lot about him as a martial artist, as a man, as a professional. And, I said this on the podcast, but this is like the most duh statement of the year. He's for sure going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to go down as one of the best featherweights and bantamweights to ever do it. It's a pleasure to watch him compete. I've always, it was an honor to compete against someone like a Jose Aldo, who will go down as one of the GOATs. And, I love to see it, and I hope to see him fight TJ Dillashaw. That's the fight he wants, and I think it would be a tremendous fight.
We know you're not going to make a comeback. Some other analyst / retired fighter making a comeback, it appears, is Dan Hardy. How do you think he'll do after all these years coming back and getting in the cage again?
It seems like Dan really is motivated to fight a high-level fighter. It seems like he doesn't just want to fight just to fight. He wants to fight someone good. And to me, that's always a good sign. He's been kind of teasing that comeback for a few years now. And I wish him the best. Dan Hardy is also one of those guys who's a true martial artist. He's a student of the game. And I hope he gets the fight that he wants. And I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but I hope he gets the fight that he wants. And
we're hearing John Wayne Parr. I just got to throw that out there because the rumors are out there. Yeah, same here.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. I'm a fan and friend of John Wayne Parr's as well. If that's the fight, man, good luck to both those guys. Those are two legends. And, I'll be watching, for sure.
You still keep in touch with George St. Pierre? I know you guys had a good friendship dating back to your days of going down to TriStar.
I haven't spoken to GSP in a little while. I think the last time I may have seen him was maybe a few years ago, I guess, at Fox. I do keep up with what he's doing and on social media and all that stuff. He looks like he's in tremendous shape. And he's another guy who I've looked up to for a long time. I consider him a mentor and another guy that obviously will go down as one of the best to do it. What
do you think of that possibility that he was close to fighting Khabib and apparently it couldn't come together and all that? Do you think George will fight again? I kind of feel like he will, although it's going to have to be something with the UFC because they still apparently don't want him doing things outside of that.
Right. That's the interesting thing. I hear that I heard a while ago that fight was a real possibility. I would love to see it. Obviously I think we all wish it was something that we saw maybe a few years back now that, George is a little bit older now, but it's still an intriguing fight. I mean, GSP, knowing how he is, he doesn't miss a training session. He stays in shape all the time. I think that if it was someone like a Khabib Nurmagomedov, that is something that would certainly motivate George St. Pierre to come back and fight. I mean, when you get a guy, a true pro like a George St. Pierre, that doesn't really concern me. Maybe for some other fighter who was kind of wishy-washy and in and out of the game and blah, blah, blah. I know how George trains. I know what his mindset is like when he has a fight. He gives it 100%. And he's not really distracted by any other thing. And I think that if that's what may happen, I would love to see it. And I think it'd be an intriguing matchup just given George St. Pierre's amazing wrestling skills. Two of the best takedown artists and control guys going at it. Sign me up.
Where does Khabib rank in terms of the greatest of all time conversation? We know GSP is going to be on there, but a lot of people feel like Khabib should be on there. Are you one of those people? Do you feel like he's done enough to do that?
It's amazing that Khabib, in a sport where many falter and make little mistakes or have a hiccup here and there, Khabib you just don't have that with Khabib's career. He is undefeated. That is remarkable. I think the only thing with Khabib, it will certainly you could argue that he's the best lightweight of all time. As far as pound for pound and all that stuff, he's in the discussion. Is he the best for me? Maybe not, just based on the strength of schedule. That's the only knock you can give on Khabib. It doesn't mean that he isn't the best. I would have loved to seen him against some of the other guys in their prime. But he has established himself as definitely the greatest lightweight of all time, in my opinion. And he's certainly in the top 5 as the best to ever do it, pound for pound. So, I mean, we're getting down to the granular details here, though.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's subjective, obviously.
And the other thing that I kind of put into the equation, James, is the fact that I look at the all-round skill set as well. Again, Khabib, you know exactly what he's going to do, and there's not a damn thing you could do to stop it. That is impressive in and of itself. But, is he the best striker, for example, in the world? Maybe not. So I like to put in like the overall skill set as well into the equation for it. But Khabib is just phenomenal, man. He's an amazing person, amazing martial artist, an amazing professional.
Any update on Ryan Hall? I know tough outing in his last fight. I know you're good friends with him. What's the latest on him with what could be next for him?
He's been dealing with a hand injury. I know he's recovering from that. I know he's been, getting back to it, though, working around that injury the best that he can. And I know that he's, as always, Ryan doesn't stop training. He doesn't stop training. He doesn't stop thinking about it. He's one of the more impressive professional martial artists that I've met out of anybody. And I know that he'll be back better, smarter than before. And, that was a tough one. But he'll be back. I think that, for me, knowing Ryan, I know that, we didn't see him at his best. But, a credit goes to, to Poirier, of course, who went out there and fought great and pulled off the win.
Did Sam Hoger ever give you back those toques and free T-shirts from the show?
He didn't. I'm not sure he did. I don't know. Did we get it back? I don't know if we kind of ransacked and took
it. Wasn't in the office, like you said, right? We know that. We know that wasn't the case, right? So that's, by the way, just a little side note. People don't know what we're talking about. First season of The Ultimate Fighter, my favorite season. So had to bring that up. It was so funny. So.
Yeah, no, Sam's a hilarious dude, man. He's a good dude. I think I'm not sure what happened there, but
just wanted to get some extra hats for the family, right? Yeah. Wasn't that it? So
that's hilarious.
Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with anyone from that cast? Because that was a pretty unique cast. Yeah, I know Tough's going on right now, but it's pretty hard to replicate what you guys had that season.
Thank you, man. I still keep in touch. I still see Forrest, who is just as funny and hilarious as he was on the show. Awesome guy. And Josh Rafferty, I keep in touch with. Alex Karalexis is still my boy. We talk quite often. Karalexis is the best, man. He's doing some great things with his charity. Let's see.
Probably not Jason Thacker. I think they found him a couple of years ago. They did an interview with him or something. But he's up. He actually lives in my province in British Columbia.
Does he really?
Yeah, I believe he does still.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So he's up there somewhere. Cool. Liebman, I know, obviously was doing some bare knuckle. I think he's retired now. Crazy cast. Koscheck has got a successful business or something, I heard. So.
Yeah. Everyone's done pretty well. Nate Quarry, all those guys. So I wish all those guys the best, man. Oh, what a magical season.
Yeah, no, it was pretty hard to replicate. How disappointed were you? The MMA awards, no Anakin Florian on there. What happened?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe next time. Maybe next time.
I gotta say, though, I'm so impressed with the following you guys have. It's almost like a cult following. Those Anakin Florian shirts, I see them everywhere. Like, was that something you expected? I know you've been doing it for a while, but it is pretty cool to see, like, I'll see like a random fighter just wearing one. Like, was that something you expected when you started?
No, no, it wasn't. I think we've kind of slowly become the podcast for the hardcores, I guess. Yeah. I would like to think so anyway. A lot of the hardcore fans and a lot of the fighters, love listening to the show, and I'm beyond honored that they do. We have a solid following that has been growing organically, and we have an awesome producer in Cody Merrow who has come on over the last year or so, and it was really kind of, just kind of taken control a little bit and made things more professional for us and made us more accessible to fans and has really been thinking out of the box and has created a great little marketing plan for our podcast. And John Anik, of course, has just been the captain of the team for a long time now. For 6 years, he's been putting a lot into the show. And Anik, and the way he approaches everything, man, he's just such a pro, and he's so damn good. Continually just takes it to different levels with the podcast, with his commentary, and I'm just lucky to kind of be sitting in the co-captain chair.
You and Ian Parker, we have a mutual friend, Ian and I.
Yes.
We both know him quite well. Have you ever gotten into it outside of the show? You can tell me. It's okay, because I know Ian quite well. He can get on my nerves sometimes too. So I know. Has it ever gotten personal between you guys when it comes to picking?
No, not at all. Ian and I, we love busting each other's balls. Ian's, first of all, probably the best handicapper in mixed martial arts right now. The dude is just amazing when it comes to knowing who to bet on and when to do it, what to do it, how to do it, all that stuff. He's killing it, man. And people outside of the podcast have been taking notice, and it's great to see. But Ian and I have a friendly rivalry. He's kicking my ass this year. He has had talk about magical. He's had a magical year betting wise, and he's been a great asset to the podcast as well, and now to the PFL and other media. So Ian's killing it, man.
Yeah, how cool is that?
I'm still going to give him shit.
I was going to say, you got to give him a bit of shit here. That's just part of it. But it must be cool though to see what has sort of come out of your show. I mean, both of you being at PFL, Ian not only with PFL but doing the stuff with Coachman as well outside of that. Like, it must be cool to see what this has become, because I'm sure you guys started just thinking of two guys talking fights, and it's really become more than that.
It really has, man. And for me, I love being a cheerleader for my friends. I'm never going to be a hater when it comes to that. I love seeing people succeed. Ian's been putting in the work. He's been around the space for a very long time, both as a manager, as a gambler, and all that stuff. And I love to see it.
Last question. We got to talk some cryptocurrency before we get out of here. Why only Bitcoin? I'm curious about this. Ethereum, I know it's taken a hit. Like, what's right. Why are you so high on Bitcoin, especially with Elon Musk, wishy-washy over the whole thing? It's kind of taken a hit lately.
Oh my gosh, James, I could go on for
we'll
hours.
Do that. We'll do that another podcast. We'll talk cryptocurrency, but just curious though.
Keep it short.
Yeah, why just short. Bitcoin though?
So Bitcoin, I think, is the one thing that can truly change humanity. I really do, and I don't want to sound like an evangelical here, but there's a lot to it, and I would encourage everyone to really do their research on it. It's the only thing that is truly decentralized. There's some amazing technologies out there in the crypto space. I'm not saying that, but you're going to get other things that are going to be centralized, where a group or a company can control it. And I think what makes Bitcoin so magical is the fact that it isn't controlled by anybody. And it is something that can protect your wealth and protect your monetary energy. And I also think that when you look at what the fiat system is based on, it has contributed to not only things like a lot of poverty all over the world. It has created more poverty than anything else. I think that the rich are getting richer because of that current fiat and bank system that we're in. And I think Bitcoin is one of the few things that can solve it, that can bring power to the people, where you can actually own your own money. So I could go on, but Bitcoin to me is one of the greatest innovations and greatest technologies that's ever been developed. And, I think over the next year or so, I think we're going to see a face melting run.
Have you heard of Ray or the Rayfin platform? Are you familiar with this? Because I think that's another thing that we got to keep an eye on. So basically, it's the guys who used to run Flow Combat. They now have made Rayfin. It's like a YouTube platform, but they reward their creators with cryptocurrency called Ray. And I like the idea of where it's really kind of, about the creator, not so much the ad, the ad space and all that. So just throwing that on your radar as well, because I've been keeping an eye on that as well. So I'll let you know about that after. But man, we went way over time. Kenny, this was awesome. Anything you got to plug before we get out of here? I'll give you the last word.
No, that's it, man. I guess anyone out there who is into jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts, I have a YouTube channel now. and I'll be coming out with a jiu-jitsu instructional in the next month or so, which I'm excited about for people who are either kind of beginning their journey in jiu-jitsu, kind of in the early stages of it, or if you're a coach who wants to learn how to maybe teach it a little bit better. I hope they check out the instructional. So all that information will come out later on my website, kennyflorian.com. And thank you for your time, James.